3 years after we buried my grandson, I saw his birthmark on a billionaire's baby. Same crescent moon on the left shoulder. Same dimpled smile. Same name on the embroidered blanket. Eli. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your city in the comments and tell me this. What would you do if you realized the baby you were paid to babysit was yours? Hit that like and subscribe button if you're ready, because this story does not go where you think it's going.
3 months earlier, if you told me I'd be living in a glass mansion on a cliff, changing diapers for a tech billionaire, I would have laughed in your face. Back then, I was just Joan Alvarez, 55, ex-school cafeteria manager, widow, and former grandma. My daughter Maria had a little boy 3 years ago, Eli. He died in the hospital 2 days later. Sudden complications, that's what they said. Except they never let us hold him when he died. No goodbye. Closed casket with a generic baby photo in a frame on top. Something in my gut never bought it, but grief steamrolls logic. Then my husband died of a stroke a year later, and life turned into this blur of cheap coffee, unpaid bills, and smiling through the "how are you holding up" questions. Spoiler, I was not holding up. So when my friend Lisa slid a business card across my kitchen table and said, "They need someone mature, responsible, and it pays stupid money," I listened. Harrington Estate, domestic staff agency contact. "Grandmas don't work like this," I muttered. "Grandmas who owe 3 months of mortgage and have a depressed daughter absolutely work like this," Lisa shot back. "Joan, just call." She was right. So I did. The first time I saw the Harrington house, I thought I'd taken a wrong turn into a Netflix show. All glass and steel, hanging over the ocean like it was too rich to obey gravity. Infinity pool, palm trees, security gate with a camera that probably knew my blood type. The security guard squinted at me like I'd arrived to rob the place, not mop its sores. "You're the new housekeeper?" he asked, eyes flicking to my Walmart flats. "Domestic chaos coordinator," I said. "But yeah, I clean." He didn't laugh. They took my phone, scanned my ID, and buzzed me in. Inside, everything was white, shiny, and breakable. I felt like a walking spell. A woman in a perfectly pressed beige suit approached, tablet in hand. "I'm Rachel," she said, "house manager. Mr. Harrington values privacy, punctuality, and discretion. You will clean, do light cooking, and occasionally assist the nanny." "Got it," I said. "Don't steal the silver, don't break the glass, and pretend I'm invisible." She gave me a look that said, "You're not wrong. No photos, no social media about anything you see here, and under no circumstances are you to enter the nursery without clearance." "The nursery?" "Mr. Harrington's son, Eli." The name hit me like a punch. I told myself it was a coincidence. Babies are named Eli all the time. "Joan, calm down." Rachel continued, oblivious. "You'll be staying in the staff quarters over the garage Tuesday through Saturday. Live in. Benefits after 90 days. Background check pending. Any questions?" "Just one,"
I said. "Do I get coffee?" For the first time, she almost smiled. "Kitchen, left of the main staircase. Don't touch the espresso machine. It's, complicated." Later that afternoon, she walked me through the house. Home theater that probably cost more than my entire old school. Gym with equipment I'd only ever seen on Instagram. Office with 4 monitors and enough tech to launch a rocket. Then we stopped in front of a framed photo on a hallway table. It was a candid shot. A young man, early 30s, holding a baby. They were on some deck somewhere, ocean behind them, wind in his dark hair. They were laughing, like the kind of laugh that comes from deep in your chest. "That's Mr. Harrington?" I asked. "Yes," Rachel said, "and his son." I stepped closer. Tiny fists grabbing the man's t-shirt, soft dark hair, chubby cheeks. He looked just like my grandson would at that age. "You okay?" Rachel asked. "Yeah, just allergies," I lied. Because if I didn't lie, I was going to start crying in front of a woman who looked like she ironed her frocks. My third day there, Rachel said, "The nanny called in sick. You're up. Just for an hour. Don't worry. The baby's easy." Every cell in my body said nope. But my mouth said, sure. She led me up to the forbidden wing. Soft lighting, thick carpet, white double doors. "The monitors are here," she said, pointing to a tablet. "He likes Baby Shark's playlist. Bottles in the warmer. Don't pick him up unless he's crying hard. He sleeps through almost everything." "Got it," I said, heart pounding. She opened the door. The nursery looked like Pinterest, and a credit card had a baby. Hand-painted mural of whales. Rocking chair that probably cost more than my car. A white crib with a baby sleeping on his side, wrapped in a blanket. A blue knit blanket with white stars along the border. I hadn't seen that pattern in 3 years because I'd made it. Every stitch, every star for my grandson Eli. My legs went weak. "Rachel," I croaked, Where did you get that blanket?" "No idea. Some Etsy thing the interior designer ordered. Why?" I swallowed hard. "Looks cozy," I managed. As soon as she left, I walked to the crib. My hand shook. There, stitched into the corner and white yarn slightly crooked because I'd messed it up and refused to redo it, were the initials E.A. Eli Alvarez. My grandson's name on a billionaire's baby blanket. I had 2 choices. Walk out and pretend I never saw it, or flip my entire life upside down. If you were me, what would you do? Walk or luck? Tell me in the comments, because I'll be honest, I did the thing you're not supposed to do. Very carefully, I turned down the blanket from the baby's shoulder. He stirred, but didn't wake up. That's when I saw it. On the soft skin of his left shoulder, near the back, was a tiny crescent-shaped birthmark. The same place, the same shape. The exact one the nurse had shown us in the hospital, smiling gently and saying, "Look, he has a little moon, a lucky mark." I remember because my daughter had cried and whispered, "My little moon boy." I pressed my hand over my mouth. "Eli," I whispered. The baby stretched and made a sleepy little noise I'd only heard once.
in the hospital room 3 years ago. It felt like the floor fell away. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't me projecting my grief on some rich lady's kid. This was my grandson. And I was standing over his crib like some bargain bin Mary Poppins.
Step away from the crib. The voice behind me was sharp and male. I turned so fast I nearly fell over. He was standing in the doorway. Dark hair, rolled up sleeves, no tie. Face I recognized from Forbes articles and news alerts. Cole Harrington, tech billionaire, app king, owner of too many things to list. He looked tired, like he aged 10 years overnight, but also dangerous, like a man who was used to people doing what he said. I realized how this must look. New housekeeper hovering over his sleeping son, touching his blanket. "Sorry," I stammered. "Rachel asked me to check on him. He kicked his blanket down. I was just, tucking him." His eyes narrowed. He wasn't buying anything. "Rachel said the nanny was sick, not that you'd be playing detective." I swallowed. He stepped closer, eyes flicking from me to the blanket to the baby, then back to me again. "You called him Eli." I heard Rachel say it." I lied. "She always calls him the baby or little man. Nobody calls him by his name unless I tell them to." My heart pounded loud enough to wake the dead. He was studying my face now, really looking. "You look familiar." I laughed, but it came out weird. I've got one of those faces. "Have we met before?" "Unless you shop in the discount cereal aisle at Kroger, probably not." He didn't smile. Instead, he walked over to the crib, gently fixed the blanket, and kissed the baby's head. "I don't like strangers near my son. Don't go in here without permission again." "Yes, sir," I said. As I turned to leave, he said one more thing. "Next time you lie to me, Joan, make sure it's about something that doesn't involve my kid." He knew something. I knew something. And between us was a tiny sleeping bomb named Eli.
That night, my daughter called. "How's the fancy job, Mama?" Maria asked, voice flat. She tried to sound interested. The grief makes everything heavy. "It's a lot," I said. "The house is insane. The kitchen island is bigger than our living room." She laughed a little. "Do the rich people clean up after themselves?" "Not even a little." I almost told her right then about the blanket, the birthmark, the name. But how do you say, "Hey, honey, I think your dead baby is alive and living his best life with a stranger"? Instead, I said, "I miss you." And we talked about nothing until she got tired. When I hung up, I made a decision. I was going to find out the truth, even if it broke me. The next morning, while scrubbing the master bathroom, I overheard Rachel on the phone in the walk-in closet. "Yes, Mrs. Harrington, we'll have everything ready before you get back." "No, the baby is fine. Mr. Harrington's with him now." "Yes, I know you prefer the au pair. This is temporary." Mrs. Harrington. So there was a wife. I hadn't seen her yet. When Rachel left the room, I noticed a stack of boxes in the back of the closet labeled "Storage, Medical, Do Not Throw Away." Now, I'm not proud of what I did next, but I am telling you honestly, I opened those boxes. Inside were old hospital ID bands, copies of birth plans, a folder stamped with the name of the hospital where my daughter had died, St. Mary's Medical Center. My vision tunneled. What were the odds that my daughter's hospital and this billionaire's baby hospital were the same hospital? I flipped the folder open. On top was a discharge summary. Patient Vanessa Harrington, type emergency C-section, surrogate. Notes, neonatal transfer, healthy now infant, no complications. Surrogate? So Mrs. Harrington hadn't carried the baby herself. The next page hit me harder. Attending physician, Dr. Levine. The same Dr. Levine who told my daughter, "I'm sorry, we did everything we could." I sat down right there on the closet floor. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a spider web. And I was the idiot Sly crawling toward the center.
I knew what I needed. Proof. Not gut feeling, not I recognize his laugh, but real proof. So I did the logical thing. I ordered a melon DNA test kit to the staff entrance under my friend Lisa's name. When it came 2 days later, I almost chickened out. Almost. I waited until nap time. Rachel was on a grocery run. Cole was in his office. And the nanny was back, but glued to her phone downstairs. I slipped into the nursery, hand shaking, and with a Q-tip and an apology to God and everyone else, I swabbed the inside of the baby's cheeks. "I'm so sorry, little moon," I whispered. "If I'm wrong, I'll disappear. I promise. But if I'm right," I sealed the sample, shoved the envelope under my sweater, and turned to see a tiny blinking red light in the corner. A camera. Of course there was a camera. I just caught on video swabbing a billionaire's baby like some DIY kidnapper. 10 minutes later, Rachel's voice came over the comm. "Joan, could you come to the office, please?"
Cole and Rachel were both there when I walked in. The atmosphere was tense. On the desk, paused on a laptop screen, was me in the nursery, Q-tip in hand. My stomach dropped. "Sit," Cole said. I sat. "Want to tell me what you were doing?" he asked. "Cleaning," I tried. He hit play. We all watched me swab the baby's mouth in HD. "Want to try again?" he asked, voice icy. Rachel folded her arms. "We don't tolerate boundary violations, Joan. This is grounds for immediate termination and possibly criminal charges." I took a deep breath. This was the moment I could either lie again or tell the truth and potentially blow up everyone's life. "You're going to think I'm crazy," I said. "Try it," Cole replied. I looked at the paused image of the baby on the screen. "That little boy," I said, "I think he's my grandson." Silent. Then Rachel actually laughed. "Excuse me?" I told them everything. The blanket, the initials, the birthmark, the same doctor, the timing. I told them about my daughter's stillbirth, the fast funeral, how the hospital never let us see him after he coded. Cole's jaw clenched with each detail. When I finished, Rachel shook her head. "This is insane," she said. "People lose children all the time. It doesn't mean every baby with a birthmark is yours." Then let the DNA test prove I'm wrong. Fire me afterward. I'll walk. Cole stared at me. You think I stole someone's baby? He asked quietly. It wasn't angry, more horrified. I don't think you knew, I said, but I think someone sold you a baby that wasn't really available. And I think that someone is connected to Dr. Levine and that hospital. Rachel opened her mouth to argue, but Cole held up his hand. How long for results? He asked. A couple weeks, but they're backed up. But he snorted. Please, I own 3 biotech companies. I can have a full workup done in 24 hours. Rachel turned to him. You're not seriously entertaining this, are you? He ignored her. Give me the kit, Joan, he said. My hand didn't want to, but I passed it over. If you're lying, he said, you'll never work in this city again. If you're right. He didn't finish the sentence, because if I was right, both our lives were about to explode.
The next day, he called me into his office alone. He looked like he hadn't slept. There were printouts spread all over his desk. He slid one toward me. My name was on it. Subject A, Joan Alvarez. 99.998% probability of biological relationship, grandmother. Another sheet. Subject B, Maria Alvarez. 99.998% probability of biological relationship, mother. Another. Subject C, Eli Harrington. 99.998% probability of biological relationship, grandson, through subject A. My vision blurred. He is my Eli, I whispered. Cole leaned back in his chair like someone had cut his strings. I pay $500,000 in fees to a surrogacy broker, he said. My wife and I spent 2 years on wait lists, home studies, psychological evaluations. I thought we were doing everything right. His voice cracked. And the whole time they were stealing babies from women who thought they died? He looked at me, eyes raw. He didn't know, he whispered. Jesus, Joan, I swear to you, I didn't know. I believed him because I knew that look, the look of someone who just realized their whole life was built on a lie. Where is he? The voice was sharp, female, and dripping with entitlement. I heard it echo down the hallway 3 days later. Mrs. Harrington was home. I peeked out from the pantry as she marched in. Blonde highlights, designer sunglasses, heels too thin for sanity. She looked like she'd stepped out of a Real Housewives marathon. She air-kissed Cole, barely looking at him. Did you tell them about the gala? She asked. We're not talking about the gala right now, Vanessa, Cole said. Oh, for God's sake, Cole, don't start. I flew back early. The least you can do is, where's Eli? I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. In his room. He's napping. Then wake him up. I'm his mother. The word mother hung in the air like a challenge. Cole's eyes flicked to me just for a second, but she noticed. Who's Grandma Jeans over there? She asked. Housekeeper, domestic chaos coordinator. She didn't laugh. Whatever. Just make sure the caterer has gluten-free options this time, and no more of that cheap champagne. The board noticed. It was like watching a show, until Cole cleared his throat. Vanessa, he said, we need to talk
privately. Spoiler, it did not go well at all. I didn't hear every word, but I heard enough from the hallway. She has proof, Ness. DNA, medical records, the same doctor. This is insane, Vanessa snapped. That woman is grieving and crazy and trying to steal our child. He's not our child, Cole said. He's her grandson, her daughter's son. Our child is whoever the law says he is, and as far as the law is concerned, his name is Harrington.
Honestly, I expected Vanessa to be the big bad. I was wrong. The real villain walked in the next day, literally through the front door. "Cole, darling," a woman's voice called. "You didn't tell me we had new staff." I turned. She was older, mid-60s maybe, but still beautiful in that sharp, expensive way. Silver hair swept into a low bun, pearls, perfect posture. This was Evelyn Harrington, Cole's mother. Old money, old power. She looked me over like I was gum on her shoe. "And you are?" she asked. "Joan," I said, "housekeeper." "Ah," she said, "we've downsized from agencies to, freelancers." She glided past me into the living room where Cole was waiting. "Why did you call me in the middle of the night? Is Vanessa being dramatic about the gala again?" "Sit down, Mom," Cole said. She did, slowly. He told her everything, the blanket, the birthmark, the DNA, the doctor. She listened without interrupting, face unreadable. When he finished, she sighed. "I told your father they'd come," she said quietly. The room went dead silent. "What?" Cole asked. "The birth family," Evelyn said, like she was discussing the weather. "You can steal from the poor, take their land, raise their rent, but you take their child, they will crawl through glass to get him back." My blood ran cold. "You knew," I said. She turned to me like she had forgotten I existed. "Of course I knew. You don't move that kind of money around without seeing the paperwork. Your broker handled the logistics, but your father made sure everything was covered." "Covered how?" Cole asked, voice tight. "A dying baby here and there, a distraught mother there, some signatures, some unfortunate complications, a generous donation to the hospital. Everyone gets paid. Everyone gets what they want. Except the baby's real family. They get a check. They're more than seen in their lives, actually. My daughter didn't sign anything. She didn't get a check. She got a funeral." Evelyn shrugged. "Details?" Later, after Cole stormed out and Evelyn went to make a call, I found her in the kitchen with a glass of wine and a different face entirely. Cold. Hard. "You're playing a dangerous game, Mrs. Alvarez," she said. "So are you," I shot back, "except I've got DNA and a grieving mother on my side." She smiled slightly. "And I have judges, lawyers, and 3 senators on speed dial. Who do you think wins that game?" "You're admitting you trafficked babies," I said, voice shaking, "for fun, for friends, for your own son." "Don't be dramatic," she said. "We created families. We gave children privilege instead of poverty. You stole them," I hissed.
Her eyes flashed. Your grandson has never gone hungry a day in his life. He sleeps on Egyptian cotton and eats organic food and will go to Ivy League schools. Would you rather he'd grown up in your neighborhood, dodging gunshots and eating expired cereal? You don't know a damn thing about my neighborhood, I said, and poverty doesn't make kidnapping okay. She finished her wine and set the glass down. Walk away, Joan, she said softly. Take whatever hush money you want. I'll write a check that makes your head spin. You and your daughter can start over. Nice house, new car, therapy, and never see Eli again? She tilted her head. Think of it this way. If you push this, you won't see him either. Court will drag on for years. He'll be told you're crazy, and you'll be lucky if you're not in prison. For what? Attempted kidnapping, harassment, trespassing. Oh, and don't forget abuse of a vulnerable minor. For swabbing his cheek without consent. She smiled. You forget. We have it on camera. I went to my room over the garage and ugly cried. Like full-bodied, can't breathe, snot everywhere, cried. I almost cacked my bag. I almost texted Maria, I'm sorry, I was wrong, forget everything. But then someone knocked on my door. It was the night shift security guard, Travis, mid-30s, dad bod, kind eyes. You okay, Miss Joan? He asked. I heard some stuff. Define okay, I sniffed. He hesitated, then stepped inside and closed the door. I've worked private security a long time, he said. Seen a lot of rich people do a lot of messed up things. I usually keep my head down, but this ain't right. He pulled a USB drive from his pocket. What's that? I asked. Audio, he said, from Miss Evelyn's call an hour ago. She forgets we monitor landlines for threats. Travis, that's illegal. So it's buying babies, he said. Want to hear it? He played it. Evelyn's voice came through, crisp as if she were in the room. I don't care what it costs. Get Levine a phone. I want every file tied to that Alvarez birth scrubbed. If there's no record, there's no case. And if that housekeeper woman keeps poking around, we'll have her picked up for attempted kidnapping. We have the footage. We can spin it. I sat very still. She's already trying to erase you, Travis said. You gonna let him? Why are you helping me? I asked. He took a breath. Because my sister's baby was stillborn at St. Mary's too. Same year as your grandson. They rushed her. Didn't let her hold the baby. No pictures, nobody, just, sorry, these things happen. She never recovered. My blood turned to ice again. You think? He nodded. I think your family's not the only one they did this to.
I called Maria. I told her everything. She didn't speak for a full minute. Mom, she finally whispered, are you sure? I have DNA, I said. He's yours, baby. They stole him. I heard her sob once, a sound I never want to hear again. What do we do? She asked. We fight, I said, but smart. Not like a Lifetime movie lady stealing a baby from a stroller. Legal, strategic, with receipts. We called a lawyer. We called another lawyer when the first one hung up on us. Finally, we found one, a woman named Hannah Brooks, who specialized in reproductive law and actually used the word justice without laughing. This is big, Hannah said after hearing everything, like career-making or career-ending big. Are you sure you're ready for that? I wasn't ready for any of us, I said, but here we are. She laid it out. We file for an emergency custody hearing. We get a court order to freeze all records at St. Mary's. We file a complaint with the state medical board about Dr. Levine. And we leverage the hell out of the DNA results and Travis's recordings. And Cole, she asked, where does he stand? I glanced at the hallway where he was pacing, phone glued to his ear. On the fence, I said, but it's cracking.
If you've never been in family court, let me tell you, it's the opposite of glamorous. Fluorescent lights, bad coffee, people crying everywhere. Our emergency hearing was scheduled 2 weeks later. On one side, me, Maria, Hannah, our grief, and a folder full of DNA tests, hospital records, and a stolen audio file. On the other, Cole, Vanessa, Evelyn, 3 men in extensive suits and the full might of Harrington money. Travis said the back like a nervous bodyguard. The judge, a middle-aged black woman with tired eyes, looked like she'd seen every ugly thing humans could do to each other. Miss Brooks, she said, you're alleging that this child, currently known as Eli Harrington, was illegally procured from your client's daughter following a falsified stillbirth? Yes, Your Honor, Hannah said. We have DNA evidence, audio evidence, and documentation tying the attending physician to a private surrogacy broker currently under federal investigation. Miss King, the judge turned to the Harringtons' lead attorney. He did his best offended professional face. Your Honor, this is an unfortunate case of a grieving family projecting their loss onto my clients. The Harringtons followed every legal protocol in their surrogacy process. All documents were reviewed and approved by the court at the time. Then why, Hannah cut in, do the hospital records show no legal relinquishment papers from Ms. Alvarez? No death certificate, no autopsy report, and no chain of custody for the infant prior to his placement. Mr. Fancy Lawyer shifted uncomfortably. Clerical oversight, he tried. The judge raised an eyebrow. That's a lot of oversight. Hannah slid another paper forward. Additionally, Your Honor, we have an audio recording of Mrs. Evelyn Harrington discussing the child's origin as a purchase and instructing an associate to destroy medical records tied to Miss Alvarez's birth. She pressed play. Evelyn's voice filled the courtroom. By the time it ended, you could have heard a pin drop. The judge leaned back. Mrs. Harrington, she said, did you make this call? Her lawyer tried to jump in, but she held up hand. Be very careful how you answer. Perjury is still a crime, even for the rich. Evelyn opened her mouth, closed it. For once, she had no words.
I wish I could tell you the judge slammed her gavel and said, give Joan her grandson back right now. End of story, roll credits. That's not how it went. The evidence strongly suggests illegal conduct in the acquisition of this child, the judge said. However, he's 3 years old. He has lived his entire life in one home with one primary caregiver. Ripping him out of that environment overnight would also be traumatic. My heart sank. So you're saying they get to keep him? Maria whispered to me. No, the judge said sharply. I'm saying this will be a process, not a same. She looked at Cole. Mr. Harrington, Did you know the child you were raising had been taken without proper maternal consent? No, Your Honor, he said. His voice shook. If I had, I never would have. She held up a hand. I believe you, she said, but intent does not erase harm. Here is what we're going to do. She laid it out. Immediate joint legal custody between Maria and Cole. Eli to remain primarily in the Harrington home for the first 3 months, but with scheduled increasing visits with Maria and me. Mandatory therapy for Eli with the child psychologist experienced in attachment and adoption issues. Investigation opened into St. Mary's, Dr. Levine, the surrogacy broker, and Evelyn Harrington. Mrs. Harrington, she added, turning to Evelyn, you are to have no unsupervised contact with the child pending the outcome of the criminal investigation. I suggest you retain a very good criminal defense attorney. The look on Evelyn's face was, honestly, kind of delicious. It's not fair, Maria whispered to Nian the hallway afterwards, tears in her eyes. I pulled her into a hug. It's not about fair, I said. It's about doing the least damage now and undoing as much damage as we can going forward. We got our foot in the door. We're in his life. And she, I jerked my head toward Evelyn, is out of it. Cole approached us slowly, like he wasn't sure he was allowed. Maria, John, she stiffened. I know sorry doesn't even begin to cover this, but I want you to know I'm not fighting you. I want to do this right for him. That's a first, Vanessa muttered behind him, then flounced off when he didn't respond. Do you want to come see him? He asked. Maria looked at me. You ever see someone standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing one step will change everything? She took the step. Yes, I do, she said.
You'd think co-parenting with a billionaire would be the weirdest part. You'd be wrong. The weirdest part was seeing my daughter and Cole slowly figure out how to be something like a team. Therapy sessions, handoffs at playgrounds instead of courthouse steps, group meetings with a social worker who treated us all like slightly unruly children. Eli, our Eli, started calling Maria Mama Maria, and Cole Daddy Cole, and me Abuelita. He adjusted better than the adults did, honestly. Kids are wild like that. St. Mary's shut down. Dr. Levine indicted. The surrogacy broker? Turned out there was an entire ring trafficking in paperwork babies. They'd been doing it for years, targeting young, poor moms, immigrants, women without legal representation. Evelyn Tato, let's just say she went from pearls and power luncheons to orange jumpsuits and public defenders. Turns out recorded phone calls and financial paper trails are hard to argue with. Travis's sister, her baby's DNA matched a child in another state. They were starting their own long road back to each other. One of the last twists, Vanessa. She filed for divorce 2 months after the hearing. She said, this was my line. You built our life on a lie and didn't even know it. I can unsee that. I didn't hate her for it. We were all collateral damage in the Harrington family's secrets. Cole sold one of his companies and started a foundation instead. The Moonlight Project, for families of hospital abductions, illegal adoptions, and missing infants. Named for the little crescent birthmark on Eli's shoulder.
One Sunday afternoon,
About a year after I first walked into that glass mansion with my mop bucket and my wounded pride, we were all in my tiny backyard having a barbecue. Nothing fancy. Favor blaze, hot dogs, Elo running through the sprinkler in his little shark trunks. Abuelita, look, he yelled, holding up a crooked paper star he cut out. I smiled so hard my face hurt. Perfect, I said, just like you. Maria slid into the lawn chair next to me, tired but happier than I'd seen her since she was a teenager. You think we'll ever be normal? She asked. I laughed. Babe, look around. Your son is doing less between a billionaire and a security guard, while your lawyer debates potato salad recipes with a social worker. We blew past normal a long time ago. She rolled her eyes. You know what I mean. I looked at Eli, at Maria, at Cole awkwardly tying the grill, at Travis tossing the ball for Eli, at the banner the foundation had sent us for the local fundraiser next week. Normal's overrated, I said. What we've got is better. What's that? She asked. Truth, family, a kid who knows all his people love him enough to fight like hell to get to him. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Thanks for not letting them erase him, Mom, she whispered. Thanks for not letting them erase you, I said back. Because here's the thing nobody tells you when life explodes. Sometimes the best revenge isn't dragging the people who hurt you. Sometimes it's living well in front of them, loving loudly in spite of them, building something honest on the rubble of their lives.
If you're still here, thank you for listening to my story. If anyone ever told you you were crazy for what your gut already knew, this one was for you. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. And if you feel safe sharing, drop a comment and tell me. Have you ever had to fight for your truth when everyone around you said you were wrong? Your story matters. Your voice matters. And you never know who might need to hear it.